Say hello to the Stinkyboard. I thought this product was too cool and useful not to show you guys. So when Stinkyboard reached out and said, do I want to do a review? I said yes instantly. I mean, it's just one of those things you look at it and you think, does that go underneath my foot? I don't know of any other peripheral really for a PC that you use with your foot. Now, I've been using this thing since probably before Christmas, playing Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 on and off, and I think it could be a really amazing device for some of our less able gaming brothers out there. So let's start with a quick tour. I've been showing you on the screen already. The Stinkyboard is, well, a board with 4 programmable functions on the top, bottom, left and right. It's about halfway between an A4 and an A3 piece of paper in height and in width, and it's designed to be placed, as I said, on a sturdy surface below your feet and act like any normal USB peripheral, just like your mouse or your keyboard. The 4 actuation points use Cherry MX switches, just like the ones that you might find on a mechanical keyboard. I mean, I've got one on my desk right now, so it uses exactly the same switches as you might find, I don't know, in a Cooler Master mechanical gaming keyboard. And that means, because Cherry MX have their guarantee, that they're good for 50 million pushes a piece. That's a lot of foot time. There's a nice piece of aluminium for you to rest your foot on top of, where the logo is also located, with the rest of the housing being made of solid plastic. Underneath, you'll find the connector for the single USB adapter, which is pretty surprising considering the Stinkyboard size, and then I had a little bit of thinking about it, and there are only 4 buttons on this thing, so it's not going to need much more power than that. And also under there, you'll find 4 slots for the springs. Now, this is the interesting bit. You can control the resistance of the 4 actuation points with different spring tensions. You can put all the same tensions in there if you want to, but I found the most comfortable way of using the Stinkyboard was to put a spring with really high tension at the back of the board where the heel of my foot is, because that's where a lot of the pressure from my foot sits most of the time. And I found that if using a normal spring, I was actually clicking the button by accident where my foot was on there. So I decided to change it for a much sort of tighter sprung spring, and get my words out properly, and I found that I can rest my foot on the back of the Stinkyboard without clicking down the button. So the fact that you get the option to change the different tensions, I think is a really cool feature. So, now that you've seen the thing, what's it like to play with? Well, I'm not gonna lie, it comes with a bit of a learning curve. Having to force myself to use functions like reload and grenade using my left foot instead of on my mouse and keyboard was a very jarring experience to begin with. Since you rarely use your feet while gaming in a first-person shooter anyway, your body just isn't really programmed to react very quickly with your feet. But with time, I became more comfortable. People who just like to use this as a peripheral, then functions like reload and grenade, maybe revive as well, are good keys to use. But when you look at the scope of this product a little bit further, then you start to see that it has far more potential than just gaming. I think the real standout for Stinkyboard is the fact that it can be used in such a wide variety of different applications and by such a huge amount of different people as well. I mentioned earlier that less abled gamers, let's say for example that they've lost an upper limb, maybe they lost their arm in an accident, or while they were away fighting for their country, the Stinkyboard could replace them like an essential mouse feature, like the left and right click on the mouse. You could put that underneath your left or right foot instead. I think that's a fantastic thing for you to be able to do, and it just opens so many doors for people who might be less able, who still want to be able to use a computer, to use a program, or to play games. The board can be orientated any way you like, as long as you program the buttons in the accompanying software properly so that it sort of suits the orientation that you're using it in. And the possibilities are endless. You can use 2 in tandem if you're really feeling brave. So you can have 8 different points of which you can push buttons underneath both your left and your right foot. So with all that being said though, there are a couple of improvements I would like to mention, or at least just in my testing I think would probably be worth adding. Is on the top, the aluminium sheet is kind of slippery, and most of the time I was using it with a pair of socks on, and my feet would sort of slide over the board a little bit. Now that's kind of good because you want to slide to a certain point to push the button for the left and the right and the top and the bottom, but maybe I'd like to just see like a little bit of grip on the edge of the aluminium towards the plastic so that I can tell with my foot if I'm near the edge of the board. Because the thing's quite big, your foot does get dwarfed by the size of it fairly substantially. So when you're getting to the edge of the board, it would be nice to know that I've moved very close to it just by having like a rubber grip, or like you see on the F key on the keyboard, just that little bit of plastic that sticks up so that my feet would be able to tell they're close to the edge of the board, and then I can move my foot back into the middle again. And my other point would be maybe to add some dampening rings underneath the Cherry MX switches, because it can get very loud when you're clicking this thing. And if you're playing at night, then it might just help that the rings are already pre-installed. You may be able to do that already. I haven't taken the thing apart to try, but it would be nice to know maybe they were just fitted by default, just to make it a little bit quieter. So there you have it, your next Christmas present. I think it's just a pretty damn cool product, and I'm really glad that I got the chance to try it out. If you want to check out more of the Stinkyboard, there are so many different things that you can do with this thing, then there's a link in the description to their website so you can go and have a look. There's plenty of videos on YouTube of people doing stuff with the Stinkyboard, so if you want to just sort of look at what people are actually doing with it, I suggest you just go and do a bit of research. But thank you very much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you could leave me a rating and a comment, that'd be awesome. Don't forget to head over to g2a.com/r/Westy for awesome deals on great games. But until next time, my name is Westy, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.